Did you hear about the time when Thailand changed its capital because of an elephant? Yes, you heard it right, an elephant. Now let's set the scene. It's the 18th century, and the capital of Thailand, then known as Siam, was Ayutthaya. But there was a problem. An elephant, considered sacred and powerful, couldn't climb a hill in the city. The royal court and their king, Thaksin, took this as a bad omen and decided to move the capital to Thonburi. Imagine that, an entire city relocated because of one elephant's hill-climbing woes. But that's just one amusing anecdote in the intriguing tapestry of Thailand's past. The nation's history finds its roots in the Sukhothai Kingdom, which emerged in the 13th century and is often regarded as the first Thai state. So, next time your pet refuses to do something, consider moving your house. Imagine playing a game of tug-of-war for centuries. That's pretty much what happened with the Ayutthaya and Thonburi kingdoms. Yes, you heard it right, centuries of tugging, and not the kind that involves a pint at the local pub. Now let's set our stage. On one side of the rope we have the Ayutthaya Kingdom, pulling with all its might, a mighty powerhouse that held sway from the 14th to the 18th century. Think of it as that burly mate of yours who insists on arm wrestling every time he's had a few. On the other side, the Thonburi Kingdom, a relative newcomer to the game, only ruling for a brief spell in the late 18th century. It's like the wiry, spry newcomer at the gym, full of determination and ready to show the old guard what's what. But wait, what's this? A new player enters the fray. The Burmese invasions, a pesky interloper constantly jumping in and out of the game, like that annoying little brother who insists on joining in, but can't quite decide which side he wants to be on. The power shifted, back and forth like a seesaw on a playground. Ayutthaya would gain the upper hand only for Thonburi to pull back. Then the Burmese would jump in, causing chaos and confusion, before scurrying off again. It was a dizzying dance of power, a literal tug-of-war, only with kingdoms and armies, instead of a rope and two teams of slightly tipsy blokes at a summer fete. And let's not forget the stakes were a tad higher than a round of drinks at the pub. We're talking about control of a kingdom, a people, a culture. But despite the constant power changes, the people of Thailand remained resilient, their culture rich and vibrant, their spirit unbroken. And you thought your family reunions were complicated? Ever moved house because you didn't like your neighbors? Well, Thailand did something similar. When the Burmese got a bit too nosy, the capital of Thailand was moved from Thonburi to Bangkok in 1782. It's like saying, you know what, let's pack up the entire city and move it a bit down the river. That'll show them. Bangkok, or as the locals call it, Krung Thep Maha Nakhon, which translates to City of Angels, was established as the capital by King Rama I, founder of the Chakri Dynasty. This was a strategic move to strengthen defense against Burmese invasions. It's like playing chess, but with cities instead of pawns. The 19th century brought along European powers knocking on Thailand's door, much like uninvited guests at a party. With the British and French making themselves at home in neighboring countries, Siam, as Thailand was known back then, had to do a bit of a balancing act to maintain its sovereignty. Enter the Bowring Treaty of 1855, a deal struck with Britain to open up trade, but also protect Siam from colonization. It's like having a no trespassing sign while inviting people over for tea. A rather clever move, don't you think? Now, let's talk about Bangkok's name, shall we? In the olden days, naming a city was a bit more organic than it is today. Bangkok was originally a small trading post during the Ayutthaya Kingdom known as Bang Makok, meaning place of olive plums. Bit of a departure from modern city naming, isn't it? Imagine if New York was called Place of Hot Dogs, or London as Land of Incessant Rain. The city has come a long way from being a humble trading post to becoming one of the world's top tourist destinations. It's like the shy kid in school who grew up to become a rock star. So, the next time you're thinking about a name for your new pet, just remember that Bangkok was named after a village known as Wild Plums. Ever feel like the only one left out of a trend? Well, Thailand knows how that feels. Imagine, if you will, a grand party where everyone's invited, except you. The European colonial period was somewhat like that, only the party was more about seizing territories and exploiting resources. But amidst this global land grab, Thailand, then known as Siam, stood as a wallflower, never getting a dance card from any European colonizer. How, you might ask? Well, it's a bit like being the only sober one at a party. You get to see things others don't. Thailand's rulers observed the colonial dance happening around them. They saw their neighbors being twirled around the dance floor, only to be left breathless and broke. And they thought, no thank you, we'll sit this one out. This didn't mean they were completely left alone. Oh no, there were plenty of suitors. Britain from the west and France from the east both showed keen interest. But rather than waiting to be asked, Thailand took the lead. They modernized their country, reformed their legal system, and astutely played the British and French against each other. It was a bit like turning up to the party in a dazzling outfit, making everyone else feel underdressed, and then leaving before anyone gets a chance to ask for a dance. In a world where being colonized was almost a rite of passage, Thailand stood apart, maintaining its sovereignty. It was the cool kid who didn't need to follow trends. It was the one who knew that sometimes the best way to win a game is not to play it at all. So, the next time you feel like you're being left out of a trend, remember Thailand. Remember that it's okay to dance to your own tune, to make your own rules. Because in the grand party of history, it's not about who danced the most, but who danced the best. So, Thailand was basically the cool kid who didn't follow trends. Ever get a makeover and feel like a new person? Well, Thailand got a whole new constitution. Picture this, it's the 1930s, and Thailand, or as it was known then, Siam, decided it was time for a change. It wasn't just a new haircut or a wardrobe update. Oh no. It was the kind of change that involved rewriting the rule book, quite literally. In 1932, a group of intellectuals and military officials, the sort you'd find debating in cafes over a cup of tea, decided they'd had enough of absolute monarchy. So they did what any group of disgruntled intellectuals would do. They staged a bloodless revolution. Just like that, Siam transformed from an absolute monarchy to a constitutional one. It's kind of like deciding one day you're going to switch from tea to coffee. Big change, right? This new constitution was more than just a piece of paper. It was a symbol of a new era, an era where the king's word wasn't law, but rather guided by law. The king was no longer the omnipotent figure, but a constitutional monarch, a symbol of unity and continuity. Now, this wasn't an overnight transformation. It was more of a journey with its share of bumps and hiccups. There were military coups, political instability, and a change of name from Siam to Thailand. But in the end, it was a change for the better. The constitutional monarchy brought about social and political changes. Democracy, albeit with a Thai twist, became the order of the day. There were improvements in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. It was a bit like going from black and white telly to Technicolor. Thailand's transformation wasn't just a makeover, it was a complete reinvention. The old was out, the new was in, and the country was ready to strut its stuff on the global stage. So, if you ever feel like a change, just remember Thailand's been there, done that. Alright, let's take a quick tour back through the spicy history of Thailand. And no, I'm not talking about their curries. We've journeyed from the ancient tug-of-war between mighty kingdoms to the vibrant rise of Bangkok, a city that sprung up faster than a spring roll at a street food stall. We've marched alongside Thailand as it proudly waved its never-colonized membership card, standing tall amidst Southeast Asian nations. We've seen its modern transformation from absolute monarchy to a constitutional one, an epic plot twist worthy of a primetime drama. We've chuckled at the tale of the elephant incident, a story that's as Thai as pad Thai. And we've witnessed a nation that's managed to keep its unique flavor despite the whirlwind of change. And there you have it, a crash course in Thai history that's more fun than a tuk-tuk ride through Bangkok. Until next time, keep your history spicy.